Welcome to Marvelous French, French lessons for those who are learning French or who would like to learn French. In this lesson, we're going to continue our series on French numbers. In part 1, we looked at numbers 0 through 10. You can find a link to that lesson in the description box below. In this lesson, we're going to look at numbers 11 through 29. Now, oftentimes, lessons might focus on 11 through 20 at this point, but once you know how to count up to 20, because of how French numbers work, you can basically count up to 29. So I thought we'd go ahead and cover that here in this lesson. So let's first take a look at 11 through 19. 11, 11, 11, 12, 12, 12, 13, 13, 13, 14, 14, 14, 15, 15, 15, 16, 16, 16, 17, 17, 17, 18, 18, 18, 19, 19, 19. Now let's look at the numbers 11 through 19 all together. So we have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And one more time. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And now a few notes on 11 through 19. First, you may notice that numbers 11 through 16 all end in ZE. 11, 12, 13, etc. This can be useful to keep in mind because people often confuse 13, 14, 15, and 16 with 30, 40, 50, and 60 respectively. The teens in French end in ZE for the most part, while 30, 40, 50, and 60 end in NTE. 30, 40, 50, 60. If you haven't studied numbers 30 and above yet, you don't need to worry about this just now. But when you do get to 30 plus, if you find yourself confusing numbers, remembering the endings may help. Also note that 13 and 16 rhyme. That's 13 and 16. EI followed by a pronounced consonant is pronounced E. So 13, 16. Now 16 is spelled S-E-I-Z-E, which in English is pronounced seize, but in French 16 is pronounced 16, not seize. Now 17 through 19 are based on the number 10, 10, D-I-X. 17 is literally 10-7, 17. 18 is 10-8, 18. And 19 is 10-9, 19. Notice that a hyphen is used to link the two numbers in each case. When we look at numbers 20 and above, we'll notice that hyphens are used in most cases where we have a number composed of two or more numbers put together. Also note the pronunciation of 17 through 19. 17, 18, and 19. 17 and 18 follow standard French pronunciation rules. The X is silent in 17, 17. The X sounds like a Z in 18 because it's followed by a vowel sound, 18. But the pronunciation of 19 is a bit unique. The X in 19 is pronounced like a Z, even though it's followed by a consonant. 19, 19. So we have a silent X in 17, 17, but a Z sound in 18 and 19. 18, 19. Now let's look at the number 20, 20. The nice thing as we move forward with numbers is that they build on themselves. If you know the number 20 and can count from 1 through 9, for example, you have just about all you need to count from 21 through 29. So 20 again is 20. 20. 20. Our 21 is 21. 21. 21. So this is literally 20 and 1, where 20 is 20, et is and 1 is 1. Note that numbers between 21 and 71 that end in 1 must include et, which again means and. So 21 is 21, 31 is 31, and so forth. However, numbers above 20 not ending in 1, such as 22, 33, etc., don't use et. We say 22, 33, and not 21, 33. So let's take a look at the numbers 20 through 29 to see that in action. So we have 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And one more time, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. So 22 through 29 work in French like they do in English. You combine 20 with the appropriate number to count up to 29. So 25, for example, is 25, a combination of 20 and 5. Note that the GT at the end of the number 20, 20, is silent when on its own. When 20 is followed by a vowel, or what we call a mute H, we do, however, hear the T. So again, we have 20 on its own with a silent T, 20. But if we want to say 20 friends, we get 20 amis, 20 amis. The T is pronounced because it's followed by a vowel. The T is also pronounced before words that start with the mute H, such as which means men. 20 hommes, 20 hommes. So we have 20, but 20 amis, 20 hommes. Now as for the numbers 21 through 29, the T is more or less pronounced. You especially hear the T in 21, 21, and 28, 28, because the T is followed by a vowel, or a vowel sound. The numbers 1 through 9 and 21 through 29 also change pronunciation based on the word that follows. We looked at these changes for numbers 1 through 10 in part 1 of our lesson on numbers. Feel free to check that out. Again, a link is in the description box below, as the pronunciation changes apply to 21 through 29 as well. Now let's look at 21 here again. As mentioned earlier, we see that 21, 21, includes the word et. None of the other numbers here do. Again, we only use et, which means and, with numbers between 21 and 71 that end in 1. We also see that hyphens are used in numbers 22 through 29 to link the two numbers involved. Hyphens are optional for the number 21, however. In the past, numbers including the word et did not take hyphens. But due to spelling reforms in 1990, however, including hyphens with numbers that use et is now acceptable. So basically, if you're writing out numbers in French, you'll want to remember to always include hyphens in numbers 17 through 19 and 22 through 29. 21 can be written with or without hyphens. Another note, the un at the end of 21 changes to une, U-N-E, when used with a feminine noun. So for example, if we wanted to say 21 women, the word for women is femme, which is feminine. That would give us 21 femmes, using une, U-N-E, the feminine form of un. Let's compare 21 men to 21 women. 21 men is 21 hommes, with un, U-N, because is masculine. 21 women is 21 femmes, with the feminine une. This same rule applies to the number 1 on its own, as well as all other numbers above 20 ending in 1, except 71 and 91, for reasons we'll explore in a later video. And now let's take a final look at all the numbers we've covered in this lesson. So here we have 11 through 19 again. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And here's 20 through 29 again. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And that brings us to the end of our lesson. We'll continue with numbers 30 and above in following lessons, but in the meantime, if you found this video helpful, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. So again, this is Meredith with Marvelous French, and as always, à la prochaine! See you next time!